Hey guys, this is assignment 7 for the Six Sigmas, also known as the Project Crashings assignment. I am Daniel Leach, the project manager. I worked with Isabella Tai, Jasmine Alexander, Wesley Bennett, Mohammed Farhan Mudin, and Goose Shaikh, and I'm going to go over how we crashed our Texas Parks and Wildlife boat design project by a month. Alright, to start off, I'll go over a bit of the background over this project. So for anyone unfamiliar, project crashing is a project management technique that you can use to accelerate a project's timeline, usually at an added monetary expense to the project. So by reducing the time allotted for certain tasks along a project's critical path, and hiring more workers to finish that task and accelerate the timeline, you can overall reduce the time it takes to accomplish or finish a project. So the added costs from crashing a project come from having to hire and fire additional workers to finish your tasks in that crunched amount of time. So to crash the Texas Parks and Wildlife boat design project that we've been working on, we had to first update our labor budget that we previously presented to include the hiring and firing costs for the employees that we intend to hire and fire. Uh, Once we had those costs incorporated, we looked at the task timelines and we reworked some to try and shave off a month of the completion date. And here it is important to note, due to the mythical man month effect, uh, these predicted time effects may be incorrect since sometimes when you reduce these timelines and are forced to add more workers, that addition of workers can lead to a schedule delay. But by doing so, we were able to crash the project by a month, which ended up increasing our overall labor costs by about $2,000. Okay, so as I previously said, to properly account for budgetary effects of crashing our project timeline, uh, our initial project budget was adjusted to include the firing and hiring labor costs. I'll run through an example calculation of how we perform this for the first month of our skilled laboring. So the first process we had, so in our initial budget predicted a $9,440 uh, skilled labor cost for our first month. That number was converted to man months by dividing out the cost per hour, hours per day, and then assuming 20 working days per month. Doing so gives you 2 man months required of work for that month, which means you then have to hire 2 people to finish your 2 man months of work for that month, which then adds a cost of $8,000 for that month. That 8,000 was then added back into that $9,440 to get what is shown on our table 1 here, $17,440 labor budget. We went ahead and did this for all of the costs in the original budget, and you can see the updated costs in our table 1. So updating it, we ended up with a total labor cost of $307,833. Okay, so once the budget was fixed, we then looked at crashing the schedule itself. So to crash the project schedule, we looked at tasks along the critical path to try and find the best options for reducing the project duration. Looking at the figure on the right, we zoomed in on the 2 tasks that we did decide to go ahead and try and reduce. The one on the left and right there, boat structure design and in-house fabrication for the boating structure. We had decided to use these since we could hire more engineers to speed up the design process and hire more welders and fabricators to assist with the in-house fabrication. These 2 tasks were each reduced by 10 work days, or 20 days in total, which would shift the entire project back by that 1 month required. Uh, we did run into the issue of changing the critical path. So in order to see this actual reduction, we also had to reduce the electrical harness fabrication time by 5 days, which can also be accounted for by hiring a few extra workers. Okay, so once we had our selected tasks that we were going to accelerate, we then looked at developing our new labor budget for this accelerated timeline. So since we crashed the project back by a month, we then reworked our initial labor budget to be in 4 months instead of the original 5 month timeline. Uh, Once we had this, we followed that same process that I outlined previously to incorporate the additional hiring and firing costs. And since we had to hire and fire extra workers in the second month, which was when we did the predominant amount of our fabrication, uh, the actual uh, labor costs increased by about $20,000, bringing our total labor budget to $328,000 to complete this project. And you can see the effects of this project crashing by looking at table 2 there. Okay, so the results and the recommendations for this. So after going through this process of crashing the project by a month, our labor costs increased from $307,833 to $328,093, or an additional $200,000 to save 20 days from the schedule. Uh, in conclusion, we don't recommend going ahead with this project crashing, as we don't really have any reasons to go ahead and speed up our process. We're already meeting our deadline. There's no reason to speed it up, and there's no reason to take that added risk from accelerating the project due to the mythical man month effect, along with the $20,000 of extra capital. Thank you.